Hello, my name is Dominic Underhallhouse and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. In today's episode we're going to be trying out a couple of different things. First of all is a new microphone. So as I'm recording this, it's actually my birthday. I've just got a brand new mic and that's going to be my big present for this year, so I'm really looking forward to getting started and having a few videos filmed with that. And we're also trying out a list that's going to be another one of the ones where we're just trying things out to see, if there is something worthwhile in here. It's not going to be hyper competitive because we are missing entirely a 2-drop. We have no 2-drops whatsoever in this list. But what we've tried to do is put together an Extilior list, and we want one that focuses entirely on playing around additional movement. So we've got Maximus and Blindsider Eztli, who can basically both just move very fast. We've got multiple sets of movement from Maximus. Blindsider Eztli can get fast. Crankbait is also fast as well and can pull things towards us. Snareling can stop them in their place, as can Jailbreak. We've got Chuck and Go to sort of scooch up and get back into speed a little bit quick, get back into range a little bit quicker, and Crosshair to hopefully take advantage of things like Jailbreak's ability, as well as taking advantage of Snareling's ability as well. And then to finish it all off, what list would be complete without Quetzalli? It's probably my favourite unit in the Extilior list, so we're going to give that a shot as well. So we're going to dive into a couple of games. I'm going to see how this goes and hopefully have a bit of fun. There is a chance that the sound quality may be a little bit off, but I just want your feedback on it as well. I'm aware that it sounds sort of slightly echoey, but it's much better than the sort of static version that we were using this microphone previously. We've now got a beautiful microphone down here that's hopefully going to be giving us a little bit of a better quality as well. So for this list, I just want to have fun playing around the movement things and just playing around with getting Extilior into range. I don't use Extilior often enough. I think he's probably my least played captain, and I think I don't give him a fair shot. He doesn't get as much time on the channel as everyone else, and by all accounts he's not a bad captain. He's actually still pretty powerful, especially considering that compared to the other captains, he's got the most consistent damage output once you get into range. So it really does make a difference being able to sort of play him out and move up fairly quickly. In terms of things like assists for this list, we've actually got things like escape hatch can be really good here because Quetzalli activates immediately, so we can just escape hatch after moving. We know that it's going to be in range of Extilior and we get a second movement. We just have to be careful not to move block ourselves or anything along those lines as well. So we're going to jump into the game, have a bit of fun and see what we can work out from here. Okay, we've found a game. We're going to be jumping into it in just a moment and seeing if we can run across the map and shiny Zax. We're going to basically see if we can punch Zax in the face. The fun thing about the Zax matchup is that Zax is going to be super difficult. Okay, I swear I just heard Crankbait. That's unusual. So we've got Vortex and Medical Recall. I'm going to go with Corrosive and Disruptor. Okay, I'm back. It turns out that I was actually hearing a stream that I had open that I didn't even realise I had open, so apologies for that. We're going to just basically get started in this game. We've taken Corrosive and Disruptor. There was the option of Vortex and Medical Recall, but we're going to go against that because we really want to get that Corrosive. Coming through. So Maximus coming up is absolutely fine. There's not really anywhere we can move to hide from him too easily, but what I might do is just move over here. So Max can obviously get to us this side, but then we'll just place our own Maximus somewhere back here. So if we place Max in this direction would be alright. However, with 3 drops, I think it's still just Maximus we want to play, and we'll just go for an easier turn next turn. Go a little bit lighter. So depending on the movement, we might be able to use our additional Cinder, our Disruptor, and just find a way to either get onto Maximus or at least to just make some progress in the direction that we want to. So that's going to be our aim here. The fact that they couldn't shoot our Maximus is probably the most important thing here. Also, I'm loving the gold painted. In fact, oh no, they must have done some cargo run. I was trying to say how the level 1 player got that. That's level 5 on the season track, but obviously cargo run is a real thing. Okay, so what's their follow-up going to be? We're trying to see if there's anything that we could get line of sight on for our Maximus. With stitching with Patchy, that could be actually quite difficult. So where does this send us? I mean, we can get line of sight out that way with our Maximus, but it's not even good line of sight. But it might just be that that's the right thing to do here. Oh, I forgot my lucky cravat. Pop over here, take a couple of shots. Hopefully we should be able to get 2. Did. We're just going to move Extilior here and going to try and keep around cover. Maximus to follow back this way, I think, just slightly further back. And we're going to need to just play something out as early as we can. So we should have considered being able to play Jailbreak over that direction. But instead, I guess we're just going to play... We could play Eztli. I almost just like playing Chuck and Co. And sending Chuck and Co right into their face. Make them play on the back foot. So, Chuck and Co is a solid unit. It's really defensive, as in it's got defensive stats because of the armour, but it actually puts out a decent amount of damage. If this is a Beatrice, then we're just obviously just going to basically ignore that. It may even be the case that with only 3 Cinder next turn, there's not much we can even do other than probably play Snareling or Eztli. So that's probably going to be our follow-up here. We are taking a lot of damage on Extilior, and we really didn't put anything in here to protect him. And it was a choice. I will say it's not necessarily a good one. If they place a unit here, we'll probably just toss it away and go in and kill Maximus, unless they heal it. Yeah, they healed it, okay. And then where are they going here? I mean, that blocks line of sight, so unless they're just going for Chuck and Go here... Yep. Okay, so the question is, can we get good line of sight onto Maximus? If they're placing a mine, that's unusual. Because with good angling, we can probably even just chuck that mine into them. Let's see what we can figure out here. There may be a route where we kill Maximus here. We obviously can't make it through this. Ooh, what are they going to... Okay. So the question is, do we have a good line of sight with our Max down here? So... Not really.
Ooh, it's almost
so I think
time.
The most important thing here is to make them as sad as possible. So this should be in range. Yep, that's in base contact, so that's going to hit both of them. And the question is, can we get 2 good hits onto their Maximus? So Extilior is going to come this way and just stay just out of the orbital. Okay, and then what can we get with Max? So we can actually get a really solid line onto Maximus here. I'm almost tempted to do this just because that way we only need 1 hit, and I think that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this just so we need 1 hit on Maximus out of 62%, rather than... Okay, yeah, we did only get the 1, so that works out perfectly. Maximus can move, so we'll just be back here. And then I think now we save this Cinder. I keep trying to go for my microphone and move it around. But yeah, this is where we're going to go. So this should now explode. And we should kill their Maximus. Perfect. And with the Maximus dying, putting a shield onto Chuck and Co, I feel a little bit safer as well. So next turn we're probably going to have up to 8 Cinder. I really think that's going to be a either Quetzalli turn, and something like Crankbait, Blindsider Eztli, probably Eztli, it provides the most damage. Or maybe even Crosshair if we feel like we can go without Quetzalli, but...
Taste the sun.
Okay, so with Amplifier Vital coming down, I think we need to go and try and kill that immediately. And depending on where they run, it might just be a case that we place Quetzalli somewhere like around here, and then just run around 2 different angles onto this. Yeah, I think that's likely going to be what we do here, so...
Awaiting directive.
If we move Extilior over to here, we place Quetzalli about here. And what I'm also going to do is just spread them out slightly and just make it so that we've got an easier shot onto their Vital. Because Vital provides so much damage, it's actually quite powerful. So we're going to move Chuck in first. Then we're going to move Maximus for this. Let's see if we get both. We do. So then we can move Chuck in here and go for this. Now if we need it, we can... Okay, our opponent conceded there. I think knowing that we can move in on their units quite quickly is a really large part of that. We had a very solid ability to just go and finish them off. So that was a good game. We've managed to use our... we did really use our movement ability there as well, though. We made really good use out of Maximus. We made really good use out of Quetzalli there. And we also made reasonable use out of Chuck and Co, killing Maximus with it as well. So that actually went about as well as I could hope. Yeah, we were against a level 1 opponent, so obviously a more experienced player would probably have picked us apart, but they might also be playing a different sort of list. We don't really know. So, you know, just guessing what would have happened is not always the most useful. But I enjoyed that game, and I think it went fairly well. Okay, an Extilior mirror match. So, again, we're looking at things here. So, this time, I'm probably going to look at Vortex and Recall, because Recall is mediocre, but Vortex is the best assist we could possibly get. So, I mean, it might even be better than Corrosive in this matchup, because it just pulls two things together, puts us in range. We're against a level 0 opponent. So one of the things that I've noticed recently, there's so many low level opponents, which is great news for the game. It just means more and more people are picking it up, trying it out, and we can start enjoying having that like content available, or having that player base available for everyone to make the most of. So my general experience in this sort of thing is I like to move to this angle to make it hard for Maximus to shoot us, and then I'll place our Maximus just back here. It's not ideal, but it'll have to do. So, we'd rather be more aggressive, but they played right up at the front, and what we want them to do is move up. So I believe here they can either get an unobscured shot, or sometimes it's like a -1% if you get the perfect angle, but I think we've stayed far enough this way that won't happen. Yeah, so this might miss both. Okay, it should hit one at least. Just on average. Yeah, they got the one, so I imagine they just run back again. Absolutely fine. If they do so, though, there's a reasonable chance that we can actually move and vortex ourselves together, which is what we will absolutely do if we can do. And we will look to try and kill their Maximus this turn if there's any option here. Stim bursting now is interesting, because I would usually consider stim bursting first, because then they can get the guaranteed hits and still make it back. This, however, might almost block them in slightly, so can we get... So we can get over there. I believe this should be able to get us into range. So we're just going to move as far over here as we can. Is there not an angle? There doesn't seem to be an angle for us here, which is quite unfortunate. So we're going to stay in this. We're not going to do anything else for now. We're going to save that for another turn. We'll take our 2 free damage onto their Extilior. Well, probably one at least. Yeah, there we go, got one. We'll move back this way. We know they've got Stim Burst, but we're not sure what their other option is. I'm really tempted to just jailbreak onto their Maximus and force them to sort of try and deal with it, but unfortunately the way they've positioned, we can't quite get into base contact with both. We're just too far away. So I'm actually just going to play Chuck and Go here and make Maximus have to go in a different direction. I think that seems right. Although the other option is playing Eztli, but I like Chuck and Go. I think Chuck and Go is the player here, because you can play Eztli next turn and then waste any Cinder. So as it stands at the moment, they have to move Extilior first before moving Maximus, and they currently don't have a way of getting into range here. So they could have another assist that does that, but we'll never know at this point. We just need to wait and see what happens. We've both taken 1 damage off the captain, but I've got a 4-drop and a 1-drop, and they've just got a 1-drop. So they've got a lot of Cinder this turn with 5 Cinder. But us having medical recall as well means that we can, save Chuck if it comes to it. We've got Vortex for next turn. Thinking next turn it's probably going to be Eztli, just because of that fast being so valuable. And I really do enjoy making the most of lists where you can actually, really make good use of movement. That's my favourite thing when I play Warhammer 40k. So I've got a Tau army, and I'm not very good at it yet. I've been playing for nearly a year and I'm still not that good, but I enjoy being able to, try and make good use of the movement phase. And just like that, in a game like this, I feel that's almost as important as the shooting and the melee side. So, quite an interesting analogy here. So if I were them, yeah, I'd be moving over there, trying to get hit, and then moving back into the smoke is most likely what I'd be doing. Interesting enough, we do actually have range with our Chuck and Co. If they stay there, we can actually just move into range. Yeah, so if they go over there, we can just vortex in. So, the question is, what's our best route here? I probably think it is going to be vortexing them. Let's just vortex their Maximus out. Let's ignore their Extilior for now, and just try and deal with the immediate problem. So if we get 2 hits here, that would be perfect. Okay, we did miss. So what that means is that we're probably just going to have to toss it and save us in there unless we crit. Because I don't believe this gets us into range. So where can he move? There. So if we just go just behind here, we will toss this just to make sure it dies. And we're going to save our remaining Cinder here. We could Shield of Hope, but I think I prefer saving Cinder in general. So that may be something I'm doing wrong with Extilior. I should maybe stack shields up earlier on, but given that it's a mirror match, I'm happy to just sort of try and play it on even footing and just try and keep ahead on board. So with 6 Cinder next turn, obviously Quetzalli's an option. It was really good for us last turn, but I actually think Crosshair might be the play, or even Snareling and Eztli just to get 2 bodies out. But I think Crosshair being ranged and having that much damage means that then we can start getting other units out. Ooh, Tipu. Okay. So with Tipu out, we just need to deal damage to it and run away, basically. We can't quite get in range here. We're probably just going to toss it, shoot it, and run. That's going to be, honestly, most likely my actual strategy for this. I'm not trying to do anything fancy. Oh no, we're going to have 8 Cinder next turn, actually. So I think next turn I'm actually going to play Crosshair and Snareling, because they will both help deal with Tipu really well. And we just want to get Tipu as far away so that when they come to use their Stim Burst next turn, it's going to be much harder for them to get good use out of it.
You have good taste.
Oh no, because we're going to miss a Cinder because we don't have... Yeah, we're not going to quite have 8 if we want to use our chuck.
Victory's in our grasp.
So, I think chucking is actually, like, using toss it is actually really important here. So we'll get that done now.
Oh, brilliant!
Maximus can come in here for these couple of hits. Hopefully get them perfect.
At peak efficiency.
Let's move Chuck in here and just get an attack in. Because again, I think 2 damage here in exchange for 1 back is absolutely fine. Extilior moving over here I also think is fine. I just think I'm not really sure what we need to follow up with. What is the best thing to follow up here? I think it might even just be Crosshair and sending Crosshair back this direction. But also, I just like trying Crosshair.
Look alive, Amy.
And then that feels good to me. We do have 2 Cinder here. We could try and spin this. That leaves us with 5 next turn, which is anything that we need. So I think this is actually correct. Although no, I'm not going to do it now because it doesn't affect anything in terms of a clock. And we might be able to use Vortex to use it better next turn as in conjunction with Quetzalli. Because there's a good chance that we might be able to get that in range of something like Tipu and start actually taking Tipu out in a reasonable fashion. So Tipu's going to be our big threat at the moment. If we can't kill that, it obviously does just take over the game, but I think we're in a good spot to do so. I also expect them here to probably start attacking our Chuck and Co. Unless, okay, so they're going for Stim Burst. Yep, so they're going to try and get, it's going to be 3 damage down to 2 on Chuck and Co. So they should be able to get into range here, I think. Yeah, but then they're going to hit back, so they're going to basically go down to 3. Which means that, ooh, down to 2 with a crit. Perfect. So that actually means that we can just attack here and take them out next turn without even having to worry about retaliation. So that's really good for us, unless they've got like a nano shield. I wouldn't be surprised at a nano shield here. I think that's not even a bad option. I also think that there's a good chance here that we could also use our medical recall on this. Yep, that's fine. So that changes our plan. We just change who we're attacking with what. We may even just go in with Maximus first. Yeah, and if they go for this attack without a crit, we still hit them back. So let's get Maximus in first and try and just make sure Tipu takes that shield off. Perfect. So now with 7 Cinder, we're going to toss this for lethal. We'll attack here, take 2 back, but it'll go down to 1. Oh, the crit is really bad here. Without that crit, we could have potentially just gone and recalled it, which was our plan. But now that's not the case. So now we're going to jailbreak Detonia. And we're going to jailbreak over here. Or we could pull them together and jailbreak. Let's just pull them together. And what I'm going to do... I can't even reach in range of both there, which is awkward, but... can we jailbreak the other side? Yes, we can. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move... I'm going to use a Crosshair to shoot first. Get this in. And we're going to start just trying to win on damage here. And we're going to pop jailbreak the other side on both. And here, we're going to Sword of Justice as well. So this now puts us in a position where we've got probably lethal onto their Extilior.
Actions cannot
If
be
they don't find a
undone.
way to kill our Extilior, we can most likely kill them between Crosshair and our own captain. So this is very likely going to be a win for us, which is great news. But we'll see what they can come up with. Because we've got extra sim next time as well. Okay, so they've got Furia. I think this is likely going to mean that we have a very good chance of taking this game out. Ooh, corrosive. So that's 5, 6, 7. They've got 10 here. Oh no, if they hadn't played Furia, they had lethal. Oh, our poor opponent. They could have... Oh no, wait, we've still got a barrier, don't we? Do we? No, we span instead. Yeah, our opponent could have had lethal here. So we need to chalk this down as a loss. Because essentially, if they hadn't played Furia, they do 3 damage off of this, 4 off of the spin, so that's up to 7. And Titonia's ability does 3. So I'm actually just going to concede here. Let our opponent have the XP. They're going to make a misplay, but as far as I'm concerned, that was a loss from us, had our opponent sort of seen the line. We obviously could have won that game the next turn, but there's no reason to sort of crush the hopes of a new player. We're all here to have a bit of fun, and honestly, I think they just missed the line, but they did have lethal there as well. So a bit of kind-spiritedness across the game is all well worth it, in my opinion. So one last game, see what we can fit in here, and then I'm going to make sure this audio quality has come out well. And essentially, we've got a brand new mic, and you've also may have noticed I've moved where the camera is as well, so to the top right. One of the most recent YouTube comments mentioned how the camera they felt was blocking parts of the UI that they'd quite like to see, so it's going to be like the corner of the bridge and that sort of thing. So we've moved that for now. Let me know if you think it should stay, let me know if you think it should move, and if you want to keep up with all the UI interface changes, hit the subscribe button. That's the shameless mid-video shill going off there, but I can't always resist. So I'll come back in the next game and hopefully have another bit of fun with the movement. Okay, we are back in with another game. We've got another Extilior mirror match, so we've got interesting things to go ahead and look at here. You know what? We're all about movement, so I was really tempted to take Escape Hatch and Lifeline, but I just want to keep on the movement tricks and just keep playing that style of game over and over again. So that's what I'm going to try and keep focusing on. I think our opponent dropped first, so I think we're going second. I'm starting to work out... Oh no, it is us. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way you can actually tell who's going first and who's going second. So we do want to drop our Maximus. Probably just about here. Stick it right in the face. Unashamedly just go for them and see if we can just run straight at our opponent. So the ideal combination here would be something like Vortex Stim Burst. We could actually just maybe even get into range turn 1 against an enemy unit, but if they play a Maximus, we can just disrupt it out of here, shoot and run away ourselves back down here. So that's absolutely going to be our plan. Unless, I mean, if we've got a way we can disrupt this back and that would be perfect. But it may even just be... Yes, that's what we want to see. If they do that, that's perfect for us. Okay, that's not quite. But we are still going to try and take our couple of shots into Maximus and just use our extra movement here, our extra sort of consistent movement. So, because we're moving them this direction, I'm also going to probably move slightly differently with my Maximus to try and avoid that situation.
I'm right over here.
So, I'm not going to go for too much damage. Getting that crit was a really nice thing there. And honestly, I think we just hide back here. So, is there line of sight here? How far can they move? So they'll probably be able to get line of sight. We're still going to save our Cinder. We could put a shield on this, so if they one miss, then their Maximus is stuck. But I think if they're coming out this way anyway, there's not really anywhere they can go to hide. So maybe this is, maybe this is protected. I'm not quite sure because obviously it measures the center of the base, and if they nip in here, they can hit it. But oh, maybe not. Wow. Okay, so they've got an angle over that way. Again, it's reduced slightly, so maybe putting that shield on would have been worthwhile here. This is the sort of the high-level plays that I need to think about. With 50%, yeah, that would have been worth it. So that would have been stuck up there, and we could have killed Maximus. Now we have to wait an extra turn to do so. I also need to remember that what we've got is stun. It's not shield. These are very different things, and I always get the two mixed up. What we could also potentially do is move up and try and place something in their face. So if they move up to here, I think I'm actually quite likely to just switch on to going for them, especially, or depending on what they play here actually, because there is a world in which we could actually just either try and kill what they play. If they try and trap us in, that's exactly what we'll do. If they went here, they could actually trap us, and that could be a really awkward situation because Extilior can't even quite get in.
This is frustration.
Okay, so they're going for Tipu. That's fine. We're just gonna
I forgot my lucky
deal
cravat.
with Tipu a little bit. So get a couple of shots in.
Yeah.
And move back. Extilior can't get in range, but what we can do is probably just play Crosshair over here. Given that we're going to have Disrupt next turn, I think this helps us... Okay, how far can TP move? Only to there. I think this puts us in a fairly safe spot. We've kind of left Maximus alone down here, but he also has got the best chance of fending for himself. So this could be Vortex, which is fine if it is, because it means they're using that to then pull us out. They haven't had a better shot for it anyway so far. And if I were them, if it was Vortex, on this occasion, usually I like to use my movement abilities, then move. In this case, I think I'd actually move and then Vortex, for just giving themselves a little bit of a better option to... Yeah, this is a Vortex to get that hit. So this is a guaranteed dead Maximus. But given that we've got Stasis Field, we can actually stun their Tipu, and over 2 turns we can kill it with these two quite easily. So they do have some additional... sorry, they do have additional Cinder to spend, so it depends on what they play. But there's a non-zero chance that we could actually use troops for this turn. This is fine, they'll probably just hide back again. What I'm thinking I might do is shoot Tipu this way. If they move further forward with their Extilior, I'll see if there's an angle where I can move them back. I mean, there may even be an angle to get onto that. Yeah, so that's not quite going to work, but we may even be able to actually just block them slightly. So what if we went... Getting the little tuck around the crates is a nice little trick. It does work quite well.
What are you on
So we're going to
about?
move to here, but we're not going to attack. We'll go for this and see if we get the crit. If we get the crit, that'd be great, but if not... Okay, so we've got 4 Cinder. We can either just stun this and follow up, which I think is what we're going to do. The other option will be to use 2 Cinder and save 2 for next turn. But I think this gives us just that little bit more consistency, and it also allows us to play Chuck and Co. or something over there. I think what we're going to want to do is just play Chuck and Co. Maybe even just here in front of Extilior and make them move to come and get him. So let's place it here. I think Chuck and Co. is very difficult for them to deal with at this point, and we're just going to move Crosshair just slightly back here. This works for me. So we're ahead on board. We've got 2 of their units down to 1. Obviously Maximus is going to be an issue. Is this Lifeline or Medical Recall? Medical Recall. Interesting. Okay. So they can play it again, but it's still only going to have 4 health. So depending on where they play it, we may even be able to just Crosshair it and take it out. So Maximus going here. They need to get line of sight onto Extilior. They can't really shoot Chuck and Co, or they just don't move. Yeah. Without a crit, this is a terrible choice from them. So this is one of the things you learn quite quickly as a new player, is that armor does prevent Maximus moving again unless he crits, and because he actually has to deal damage. So armor reducing it by 1, this is a really awkward spot for them now, because what we can do is move into here, we can ping this, toss this, attack here, still leaves us with 4 Cinder, and we can play something like Jailbreak or probably Eztli or Crankbait here. Okay, so I believe this is actually still in range of toss, yeah. So that's the most awkward part for them, is that this is still in range of toss, so even though we can do things over here, we could even potentially toss Jailbreak away and just move and attack, which is probably even better for us, depending on how far the toss goes. Okay, so the toss doesn't go far enough, so we would need to just toss Maximus for lethal. But because of the way Crosshair works, we're now guaranteed a crit here. So let's go for this. We really missed that. I need to go back and look at what percentage chance that was, because that was brutal. So we go for these hits here. We don't have much of a choice here. We're just going to keep churning away at things. But honestly, I think we just jailbreak with our own jailbreak. They don't have a good AoE angle on us, and this also guarantees us another crit next turn with Crosshair. So we didn't get the crit this time, so that could have been potentially a dead jailbreak. That must have been quite a high chance to hit. That was reduced to 0 there, but they now can't move. We'll just have to see what they come with. They've got Vortex, so they can potentially pull this away and then move and not take the extra damage from Crosshair, but I think that's not going to put them in the best of spots. So they've now got 9 Cinder though, so they could play absolutely anything here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Switchback, a Maquani Thicket, maybe even Defense Dome. Defense Dome would be really good here. We would work on pushing it away if we could do, but I get the feeling this placement looks like it's going to be an aggressive unit, so we're probably going to have to end up fighting against whatever this is, if it comes to it. It's Tipu again. Okay, that's fine. So what my plan's going to be here is I'm going to try and use Crosshair to crit this. That'll be the ideal plan, and see if we can kill this using just Crosshair and maybe Jailbreak. Then we can try and use Tipu and Extilior to kill them. They could also move away, that does work.
I am warning you.
So if they move away we don't get the guaranteed crit, but we've still got a lot of damage to potentially send in the way of Tipu. It could even actually be better to use Crosshair onto Tipu. Okay, sure. So,
orders.
Can we just tip that away? Not well enough. So what do we do here? I think the first thing we need to do is just kill Jailbreak. I don't think I want to hit Tipu with that at all. What I do think I'm willing to do is potentially Sword of Justice my own units here, just to kill that and get better lines on other things. So I'm willing to take 6 damage on my own units here, just to try and make things work a little better. So if we move over here with Chuck and Co, we can get Jailbreak in over here. Crosshair's going to come and try and get the big crit. 86, come on. There we go, we've got the big crit. We don't have the toss left anymore.
Your commands.
But we can just keep moving Extilior up. And then to be honest,
your actions.
I think we just play Blindsider Eztli somewhere over here.
Victory's
And
in
let's
our
start.
grasp.
Let's start using Shield of Hope proactively. So
Sorry to keep
they can
you
move
waiting.
in on this, but I think this is going to be enough for our purposes here. Now, whatever they play every turn, Crosshair should crit against it. So one thing we need to bear in mind is if it hasn't moved and Crosshair was deployed, she gets to crit. So what we want to do is if we need to use Disruptor to get an angle, we need to make sure we use it to move Crosshair, not to move their unit, because otherwise that counts as moving. So here, there's almost nothing that should be able to survive both Crosshair and Blindsider Eztli. So as long as we can spend 7 Cinder, which we can with Quetzalli and our spin, then we should be alright. So here they're going to spin, it's going to be good value, they're going to get a good amount of damage off. Technically it's only going to be 1 here, 2 here, and then obviously full onto Extilior, but that's fine, we're not too worried about that. This is where I'm a little bit less sure, because this is giving them, basically like they deal 1 damage to take 2. Now this is what I'm interested in, what they play next. So we probably want to still kill Furia no matter what, but it could be that we find a different way of doing so, because Jailbreak's got a good amount of movement, but I think we're likely to just be using both of these to kill Furia. Okay, Detonia we're less worried about. So first things first, let's find out what sort of crit we can get with Crosshair here, because that probably makes a big difference. Okay, so that's big enough, but not world changing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's a world in which we can actually do everything we want to here. If we play Quetzalli about here. So what we want is to avoid some of these AoEs. So bring this over here. Just get a hit. That crit actually matters as well, which is nice. Bring this over here and hit. Then this can move over there.
What is your
Extilior can move to here. Huh, we've actually...
Commencing countdown.
Okay, there's a different way of doing this. Move to here, Sword of Justice,
Look at what I
and
got
move Eztli
here.
over to here, and close. There we go. And then we'll just melee them. So there's nothing here that's going to kill us next turn. They don't really have anything that's going to have immediate impact other than the Scattervine, so there'd need to be a lot of crits for that to work. And I think from next turn onwards, we're just going to be able to stun Extilior and take him down on a fairly rapid basis. So especially if we stun him as well, that works really well with Crosshair. So this could be a really good little finishing turn. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 damage potentially, and they've got 15 life. So we're in a good spot. We just need to make sure we don't die to anything else. So they played Aria. So again, the way that these are going, I might actually just use Quetzalli to run away and just try and use my other units to take out things like Aria and start chipping away damage onto Extilior. We're probably going to stun Extilior to almost guarantee we've got it over 2 turns. But there's a lot of different options here. I think we're in a good spot. We're not guaranteed to win, but we're not you know, guaranteed to lose either. I don't think Vortex does too much here.
I am warning you.
Because we've got multiple units that between them can kill Aria. And this still gets us in range, so we just need to basically get Crosshair to hit.
Cinder can be
Yep, this is going to hurt, but
we
them
will
taking
not
damage back
cease.
also puts us in potential lethal range.
Not swinging, strategizing.
What do we do? Do we go for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15? I mean, technically we have lethal, so let's just try and get Crosshair in first. See if we get anything good here. We got 3, so we'll then move out. I think we're just going to go for this and just try and be greedy, because what's the point if you can't have fun? So, we'll spin first.
Repression in progress.
We need to use 2 Cinder and 1 more, so we'll just play Snareling, say, over here. We will Shield of Hope ourselves.
Victory's in our grasp.
Move to here.
A bit lopsided.
We might as well stun Extilior anyway. So we get our melee hit in here.
I am not damaged.
Our melee hit in here. We'll toss this.
Your actions.
Perfect. I didn't think it would go all the way over that, to be honest. It was almost like an alley-oop. That was a great little finish. So we were actually... I was really tempted to go for Aria and just take it safe over 2 turns, but there were worlds in which, you know, enough Scattervines could kill us if that was something they're playing. Maximus getting closer to leveling up. So, all in all, a very fun list. It was quite, you know, like, it was quite intricate. There was a lot of different ways of moving things. Crosshair is great in that sort of list. I really, really enjoyed that, and hopefully we can play more lists of Crosshair in the future. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this as well. I mean, I'm actually having a lot of fun playing the slightly more obscure lists, the slightly more, you know, unexpected ones. Things that aren't necessarily meant to work well, but just are a lot of fun to play. So we're going to have a lot of fun with these in the future and see what else we can come up with. I'm looking forward to hearing about the patch. We know that that should be coming in the next few weeks, so I've got fingers crossed to hear about official news soon. We've already seen that there's going to be objective-based play coming, hopefully. You know, not guaranteed, but hopefully, so really keen for that. If you want to keep up with everything that's going on with me and the channel and the game, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're trying to push for 250 subs as our next big goal. And other than that, pop a comment in, let me know what you think, give me some advice, you know, criticise me all you like, and most of all, have a good day.